We have Oliver Rentschler. He is working at the Federal Foreign Office, which we are presenting from here in Berlin. He is the Director General for Climate Diplomacy, Economic Affairs and Technology. What a title. And then also we have Miss Julia Skorupska. She is the head of the Powering Past Coal Alliance Secretariat. And before you worked as a British diplomat in China and Egypt. So I'm glad you made it here to Germany. I want to dig into it. We've talked about the just energy transition partnerships. So, Mr. Rentschler, what are the objectives and instruments that are implemented when it comes to this partnership?
Thanks a lot. I would start by saying that it's probably a new generation of climate partnerships in that it is both comprehensive, going away from this project perspective more to an overall perspective, investment plans, but that it's also plurilateral. You mentioned Germany and the partners, but in fact it's G7 partners plus further donors that are pooling their resources and are then, and this is I think this novelty, negotiating and discussing the ambition together with the partner country. And that means that basically we have the climate ambition of the country like South Africa, like Indonesia and Vietnam. We have the financial ambition of the donor countries. We pool the two, we bring them together, indeed with the aim to accelerate the energy transition, and based on the let's say, consideration that energy transition is a challenge wherever, but it's a bigger challenge in some countries than in others because of the dependency on fossil, because maybe of the lack of financial resources, as an example, because also of the societal challenges, and that is where the just comes in. It needs to really take into account the needs of communities, of workers, and so on. And all of that is developed jointly between the donor countries and the country that is basically defining its climate ambition, and it's becoming very practical and concrete with investment plans. I think so all those elements make it a real new and innovative tool in our hands.
Thank you. I think this is a great opportunity to bring you in because, as I've announced, you are the head of the Powering Past Coal Alliance. So could you maybe explain how this alliance works and where maybe similarities or differences are when compared to the Just Energy Transition partnerships?
Thanks a lot. So the Powering Past Coal Alliance is a coalition of national governments, subnational governments, financial institutions and companies who all want to work together to achieve a phase-out of unabated coal on a Paris-aligned timeline. So I'm the head of Secretariat, and the alliance is co-chaired by the UK and Canada. And where we see ourselves as fitting in is that our members have a vast reservoir of experience and expertise, which they can use to kind of share with people who want to make the transition. And we have a number of ways in which we share that expertise. So we produced a report setting out some of the ways in which our members had overcome some of the policies, some of the technical and the social challenges as well. We run webinars, we do kind of policy exchanges, and we also do workshops. We bring people together, basically. And for us, the just transition has always been right at the heart of our theory of change. And so we have a number of really good examples of just transitions which have been delivered, which we're really keen to be sort of sharing around the world and raising awareness of what our members have done and how they can help other countries looking to make that transition.
Speaking of other countries and just what are the challenges in making sure that this actually functions, that you transition out of coal but do it in a just way when there's different power dynamics? You know, countries have different access to different resources. So how is it manageable to have these two goals, get away from coal but also do it in a fair way?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So according to the ILO, there are kind of a number of elements which need to be there to make a transition just. So there need to be clear targets and pathways to kind of set clarity, to make sure that people understand what's going to happen. There needs to be early negotiations with a range of stakeholders, a kind of good stakeholder dialogue. There needs to be transition financing, and priority needs to be given to some of the impacted communities. And I think that the experience of our alliance members really kind of reinforces those guidelines. So I can talk about two examples. So one is Eastern Wielkopolska, which is a region which was really heavily dependent on coal. And they decided that in order to create a new vision for the region, a new sense of identity, they would bring together civil society, NGOs, unions, the utilities to come together to think about what the new sources of economic opportunity would be. And so they came up with a plan where it would be based on things like e-mobility, the renewable energy sector, modern energy technology. And as a result of kind of coming together like that to form a plan, they were able to mobilize a lot of support from the World Bank, from PwC. People kind of saw that this was a kind of clear plan that they could mobilize behind.
Thank you for this. I want to bring this back to you, Mr. Rentschler. What are some of the challenges for the Just Energy Transition partnerships in making sure that the goals are met, being equitable, but also coming to a place of renewable energy?
Yeah, no, as we've heard also in the speeches this morning, it is, of course, a challenge. It is partly also a dilemma because you want to be ambitious, but you also need to take into account the, let's say, the worries really and concerns of local communities, of, for example, the mining community and the workers there. And to define, so to speak, the right path through this dilemma is exactly what the dialogue that we are undertaking is about. It is, of course, always the respective governments that know best how far their society can go along. On the other hand, it is our collective and global ambition to move fast, and to now reconcile these two objectives is exactly what these projects are about. Ultimately, if you speak about challenges, yes, in every society it is a transition that is some call it even disruptive, definitely demanding a lot from various parts of society. And as in all cases, it's of course also a resource issue because also the financial, human resources are ultimately limited also when it comes to the donor community. So that is why I think this dialogue is so important.
You mentioned those challenges, and I think of the civil society, of like actual people convincing people that they want it, that they will actually want to engage it. So maybe you probably both have something to say, but I would ask you also, how is it as far as getting the civil society to really come along and be on board or communicate and convince?
Yeah, as I said, I think that kind of one of the key lessons from our members' experience is the importance of having this kind of clear political direction and a plan which has been developed from kind of stakeholder dialogue, so bringing in civil society. So I already spoke about Eastern Wielkopolska. Another good example of where this has been done really well is in Chile, where it's a country which is 40% dependent on coal for electricity at the moment. So it's kind of quite a high dependency. But they decided that the way they were going to kind of tackle the transition was to bring together civil society, to bring together NGOs, to bring together the unions with public utilities, to think about what are the key elements of a just transition for us. And as a result of that, they came up with a plan where the utilities commit that they will phase out of coal by 2040. And in fact, they're kind of much faster in delivering it than they were expected. So the initial target was 8 plants decommissioned by 2025. That's already been done. More are on their way out. So it feels like this kind of the importance of engaging civil society and getting that momentum across all our members has really been shown to be one of the key things.
How would you expound?
Yeah, I think it's also important to focus a bit on the opportunities. Of course, there are the challenges, and that's important, but also in the communication. But overall, there are enormous opportunities. I mean, not only do renewables offer also income possibilities, also overall and globally. I think there's a much higher chance for bigger parts of the value chains remaining in the countries producing that energy. So there are definitely also chances. It may, within societies, be a bit of shift from one group of stakeholders to another one, and that needs to be moderated. And that is exactly why this just is really an important letter in this JETP. But I think overall one needs to have the perspective, A, it's inevitable and we need to do this. I mean, we've all heard again this morning, the alternative to energy transition, there isn't. We need to get this done. And we need to do it with a lot of ambition. We all agree on that because any alternative is really, just too drastic. But then also to seize these opportunities and to develop those together. I think that's what this partnership is about.
Well, hopefully these things will turn out just the way that they in vogue. It was very interesting to hear those insights, especially the specific stories. And thank you so very much for having been part of this deep dive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you too.